Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to April's edition of VRM Insider. We're so glad that you all are joining us today. The participants are coming into the room as we speak, so we're just going to give them a few seconds to log in and get in place. Hope that everybody has had an awesome week. You guys are in for a big treat today. It's a little different than most of our VRM Insider editions because we have a full panel of VRM employees, which is not our norm. And our cameras are on, and we are here for you. Today, we are going to be bringing you a recap of our Spring 2019 VRMA Forum recap. We're going to be taking our notes that we took while we were there last week in Charlotte, and we're going to be recapping our key takeaways for you, answering questions, and hopefully just giving you a nice overview of what we heard, what we were listening to, and what we brought home to the table to the rest of the team here at VRM. So without further ado, because we have a lot of ground to cover in the next hour, I'm going to dive right in. Some of you may know everyone sitting here today, this beautiful house of ladies, but some of you may not, because you hear our voices or you see our names on work tickets, but you may not have seen our faces. So my name's Tracy Sanderson. I'm the Director of Marketing here at VRM, and you've hopefully seen me because I'm on VRM Insider. But you may not have ever met Miss Connie Hutchins. Connie, wave your hand so they know who you are. This is Connie Hutchins. And she is our CFO. She is one of our fearless leaders here. We're just delighted to have her on board. And next, we have Miss Tammy Taylor. Tammy, can you wave at everybody? Tammy is the Director of Installation and Training. So, which means if you're new to VRM, she's the boss. So she and her team will walk you step by step through the installation process to get you trained and ready to go. And next we have Miss Lauren Schreckengost. Did I say it right, Lauren?
Yes, that's right.
Lauren has been around a long time, so I'm sure many of you have met Lauren before or seen her or definitely have heard of her. She was part of our training and support team, and now she is our super trainer. We're going to get her with a big S on the front. So she and Tammy work very closely together, making sure that any of our new clients are completely installed in the most seamlessly way possible, and hold their hands through that process because we want them to have an awesome experience at VRM. And so that's where these two ladies come in. All right, so what we're going to do, we have some topics we're going to cover. So we're going to kind of jump around from person to person. We're going to present some things to you all today. If you have any questions during the presentation, you are more than welcome to use the Q&A button. It's down at the bottom of your screen. It's a little square box with a Q in it that says Q&A. You can click on that and drop a question in, and we'll either answer that question live or we'll hold it until the end. So which just depends on where we are in the presentation and whether or not the question fits. And if you need anything during this, we do have a chat button, but I would prefer you to use the Q&A button. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to pass the torch over to Connie, and Connie is going to get us started.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. I just want to start by saying that this show was a great show for us. I've enjoyed the shows in the past because I've really liked going to the seminars. I've liked to go and listen to see what might be changing in the industry, what kind of questions the property managers are asking in the various seminars, what kind of concerns and challenges that y'all are facing. And so I think that it helps us as a property management system to go and know what's going on in the industry. And the reason that I enjoyed this show so much was because we were able to take quite a crowd, the most that we've ever taken before. We had 7 of us. So there's the 4 of us here all went, and then we had 3 additional ones. So we were able to cover a lot of ground this time around. So it was a great show for us. I love going to the shows for a couple of other reasons as well. Number one is FaceTime. We're all telecommuters at VRM, and so I don't even get to see my fellow employees other than on camera. So it was just great to see 6 others that I could actually, touch and give a hug to and say hello to. So we really enjoyed that FaceTime with each other. And then, of course, we enjoyed the FaceTime that we had with the clients that showed up. That's great as well. All of you are spread out. We now have all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast. And so it's just a really great opportunity to meet with you one-on-one. We made some time to meet with the various clients that showed up. So that was wonderful. And then the third group that we have FaceTime with is our vendors and our partners, our integration partners. We had some great meetings. In fact, I probably spent more time in meetings with partners and clients than I did seminars this time around, which was fine because I had all our other employees to attend the seminars. But we had some great conversations with several of our vendors and our partners, and we get a really good direction as to where we want to go with VRM, and we work in some of these things that we hear into our strategy and planning. One of the sessions that I actually went to was prepare a strategic plan that you'll actually implement, and that was a very good. It was geared towards property managers, of course, but as a property management software, I still got a whole lot out of that, and actually came back with a spreadsheet and notes and stuff all filled out. So that was a great seminar. One note of interest that I think might be interesting to you as well is that running around, you have your name tag on, and I just saw a whole lot of first-time attendee ribbons on the name tag. There was a lot of new VRMA members, a lot of first-time attendees, and talking to several of them, a lot of them were startups. They didn't have software yet. They were hunting around for different things, different people to partner up with, different vendors. And so I just thought that was very interesting that at this point in time, there are a lot of new startups in the industry. So that's probably my focus on this one. So I'll turn it back over to Tracy to lead us to the next one.
Awesome. Well, as Connie mentioned, we each took opportunities to sit in on different sessions at the Spring VRMA show in Charlotte last week. And Lauren is going to talk to us now about a housekeeping session that she and Megan. If you guys have heard Megan's name, Megan was there, and she's not able to be here today. So Lauren's going to tell us more about that session. So if you're, housekeeping and that's a sticking point for you, pay attention.
Thanks, Tracy. Yes, Megan and I were privileged enough to sit in on the managing a housekeeping department, the toughest job you will ever love, with Dirk Johnson. And he's with the Vacation Rental Housekeeping Professionals. And I will honestly say he loves his job. Any opportunity you all might have to hear him speak as far as housekeeping practices or procedures go, I would definitely encourage you all to do that. He is interesting to listen to. And I will be honest with you, housekeeping is not usually one of my favorite topics or parts of the vacation rental industry, but the information that he presents, I always find exceptionally interesting. And he does it in a way so that it just kind of clicks and rings bells with me and just helps me remember how important that part of the industry is and how often it gets overlooked. One of the things he pointed out was that the housekeeping staff is one of your biggest client customer-facing parts of your company. They're out, they're doing the cleaning, they're seeing your guests. So how they represent your company is a huge reflection on you. And I thought it was interesting how much time and dedication he takes to making sure housekeeping staffs are trained and ready to do their job. And he went through a number of different steps that he suggests companies do with regards to their housekeeping staff. And based on the time we have today, I'm not going to go through and hit every one of them. But some of the ones that I thought were really interesting was that he said it's really important to do your planning ahead of time. So when you're doing your planning with your housekeeping staff, you need to be thinking about things that need to be done annually, seasonally, monthly, weekly, and daily. So with the seasonal planning, you need to be sure that you're preparing for your high season and also you're preparing for your off season. What do you want your housekeeping staff members to work on during the off season? During the high season, they have a number of properties that need to be cleaned in a quick amount of time. So it's really important to use your off season to help your staff find new ways and better ways to clean properties that maybe they haven't thought about before. He also said to make sure you're thinking about your staffing. Make sure that you have the right workload for the staff that you have, and that you go in to be sure that you make changes where necessary as far as what may have changed with your rental inventory since last year, or what might have changed with the staff that you have available to work for you all for this year. I know with the hurricanes that we experienced last fall, both in the Florida area and the coast of North Carolina, a lot of things have changed for us as far as resources available and properties available. So a lot of companies are going through some of the time they've spent their off-season focusing on what properties they're going to have available to rent and who they're going to have available to clean, as that has changed based on resources and, again, effects of the storm. So be sure you're thinking about that now before you all get into your high season and find that you may be understaffed or you may have more staff than you have properties. Something else that he was saying that you want to make sure that you think about is a standard property appearance. It may be that you all want, for example, the coffee filters in your property in a certain location. And if that's the case, train your housekeeping staff where to put the coffee filters. And one of the examples that he gave for something like that was to have a training brochure for your housekeepers with pictures. So split it up so you have your documentation, you have a picture of where the filters are supposed to be here, and then he gave examples of the descriptions, one written in English and then one written in Spanish, because he has had a lot of Hispanics that are working for a number of companies that he's been involved with, and he's just trying to find ways to be sure everybody understands how the company wants their properties to look when guests check in. If you have a standard way of where you want the remote control, again, have a picture of where it's supposed to be and then have it written out so that people who are doing your cleans know what you expect and what the property standard is for your company. And I just thought that that was a really good idea as far as presenting a good front for you all and a standard front across all the properties that you have. Something else he pointed out was make sure you know what cleaning products the people that are cleaning your properties are using. Make sure that the products that they're using have the benefits that you all need as far as from a cleaning perspective, and that they don't have any potentially dangerous health effects. So just again, if you're not aware of what your cleaners are using, please be sure that you check in with them to get a list of those cleaners. Something that he pointed out that I have heard before, especially associated with all the flooding we've had recently, is that bleach does not kill mold or mildew. It just takes the color away. So if your cleaners are using bleach, thinking they're getting everything taken care of, you all might want to sit down and reevaluate a better type of cleaner to kill what they're trying to kill and not just take the color out of it. So I thought that was interesting. Something else that Dirk is a big advocate of is not doing laundry in the property. So he suggests using a commercial facility to do your laundry because you have more control over the time that the sheets and the towels wash, the temperature of the water, whether it is a fast cycle or a slow cycle. So just things that he points out. He said that a lot of time is wasted when housekeepers do laundry in the unit because they find themselves either sitting around waiting for the laundry to finish if they finish cleaning the property, or they are rushing around to get the linens and stuff out while they're still trying to do the clean. So just something to think about that he mentioned. So I wanted to pass it on to you all about linens. He also suggested that you all find ways to customize the linens that you provide if they're company provided, so that you can tell at a glance which sheets and towels are yours versus which may belong to another company. And he was suggesting piping or getting linens with lines in them just to make them look a little different and to make them look a little nicer. So again, just a tip that he had that I wanted to pass on to you all. Something else that he mentioned was accountability. He said that it's very important to find a way to provide positive feedback to anybody who's working for you and to help them find ways to continue to improve. And he suggested online resources for free that you guys can go through and help your staff better themselves by learning about more of what's going on in the industry, more effective ways to do things. And he also suggested getting at the beginning of your season, like a toilet brush or a hammer or some kind of tool that's clearly recognized by the people that are working for you all. Spray paint them gold, and then every week award the golden plunger or the golden hammer to somebody in your staff who's done an exceptional job that week. And I just thought that was a really cool way to encourage people to just give a little extra, because a lot of time people just want to be recognized for what they're doing. And when you do that, they're going to work harder. They're going to have more energy, because it's not just nobody cares what I'm doing, nobody's paying attention to me. And that little bit of extra recognition really goes a long way. And I thought that was a really good suggestion. And one more thing, and then I promise I'll finish talking about housekeeping. One of the questions that was asked to Dirk was, how does he suggest companies train new housekeepers? And he said that his suggestion is tell them how to do it, show them how to do it, and then have them do it. So he says what he does when he's training a new group of housekeepers, he takes a day for training. The first half of the day, he has the housekeepers all in one house. He goes through, he tells them how stuff should be cleaned. He cleans part of it for them. He lets part of them do part of the cleaning. And then for the second half of the day, he lets each one of them clean a property. And that could be an individual person or a group, depending upon how they're going to work during the normal season. And then that way they get the extra experience before they have all the stress of it's turn day, quick, let's get in, let's get out, let's see what we're doing. They have a chance to practice it and what the standard is and what's expected of them. So that's in a nutshell what I learned from Dirk, and wanted to share that with you all today. So thank you very much.
That's awesome. And I love the part about motivating and encourage employees. And we're actually going to circle back to some of that later. Just in general, all employees, not just housekeeping. So that's an amazing point. We are going to move right along, and we're going to dive into some other hot topics. And Lauren needs to take a couple of sips of water because she's got to talk some more. We have, when we go to these shows, we'll pick up on some recurring themes and some topics that they get talked about. It's either in the sessions or we hear the chatter from it. And two of those things this year, and there was more than two, but two we're going to talk about right now, were revenue management and OTAs. And of course, OTAs has been a hot topic for a while and probably will continue to be for the time being. So we're going to talk about that, but we're also going to talk about revenue management and kind of what some of the things we learned about that in our industry.
Thank you, Tracy. Yes, one of the topics that we definitely heard mentioned a lot was revenue management and also the online travel agencies. And these were topics that we heard not only in specific sessions that we attended, but just being talked about as we were walking around, visiting with different vendors, different partners, different ones of you all who came to the show as far as asking about what's coming down the pipes, what are we working on, where's the industry going. So these are definitely things people are asking about and interested in. And with those, I'm really excited about what VRM has right now available to you all for these two different items, and also what we are working with for the future. With the revenue management, Megan and Michelle were able to attend a session with Scott Leggett and Ian McHenry on using dynamic pricing and operational data to make better business decisions, which was very interesting. With this, both Megan and Michelle enjoyed what the two presenters had to share, but they definitely felt like we have a lot to learn as far as the training and support team about this topic, not as far as the development team and our programmers. They're on top of this. But we were excited to learn about this so that as you all had questions for us that come through the help desk, we would be better informed as far as how to answer those questions for you. One of the things that they pointed out to us was that revenue management is making sure that you're selling to the right person at the right time for the right price. And it's becoming more and more apparent that people are shopping for deals, that people want to have their prices able to be adjusted based on what's going on with the market, the demand for specific properties, the time frame, and that's something that we are working to do for you all. One of the things that we have that help that is our enhanced discount functionality. We have an area within that part of VRM right now where you can set up a discount or a markup to apply based on the occupancy of the specific unit that the guest is making a reservation for during a defined time frame. So you all can go into the system and say, okay, if the occupancy is at 75% or higher during this specific time frame for this specific property, I either want to mark the property up because it means, hey, everybody wants to rent this property, or it may be that, okay, I want to offer a discount now because we've made so much money in this property for the owner and for the company. We want to get some more reservations in, and if we lower the rent, we may be able to attract some more people. So we have that option within the VRM system right now. And if you all have questions about that or want to know how to get that set up, again, feel free to contact the help desk and we'll be happy to help you with that. And something else that VRM is doing is we are working with Beyond Pricing. They have a tool and we are integrated with them that works with the revenue management functionality. I'm not sure if somebody else wants to chime in at this point as far as more information about Beyond Pricing, or if we just want to leave it as it's available, ask us for questions, and do it more as a teaser.
Well, I'll just chime in. Beyond Pricing is a company that, as far as I know, that's what they specialize in, and that's all they do is the pricing. And we have a full integration with them, so you set up their the rules over there in their side of the software, and then it pushes the rates over to us. At the show, we also talked to, there's a couple new companies coming into that space in our industry. And next week, I think on Tuesday, Michael and I have a demo with a company that has approached us about integrating with them. And then there was one, yet a third one that we're talking to as well. So there's going to be additional options as the year goes along, but currently, if you're familiar with Beyond Pricing, I think they were one of the first ones to get into that space, and so the integration is there in full, and you can talk to them about how it all works, I think.
Excellent, excellent. And now, Connie, with that, with the key data dashboard, is that right? Does that help with this at all as far as on the client side managing and seeing what their trends are with their rentals?
Well, the reporting with the reporting that you get from the key data dashboard most definitely can help you. They don't do any dynamic pricing managing currently. I'm not sure if they're getting into that, but the reporting that they have definitely can show you where you're at in terms of your marketplace, you know, what the occupancy is like, what the pricing is like, those kinds of things, and help you make decisions if you're using the enhanced discount in VRM to do those things, and checking that on a regular basis. The key data dashboard can be invaluable information for helping you make those decisions.
Excellent. And then that would help too when companies are working with their owners to set rates for next year or even make adjustments to rates for the current year. Is that right?
No, absolutely. Sure. Yeah.
So another way that you all can go in and get control over your pricing and knowing what to base it on, so that if you need to make adjustments to be competitive, you've got something, again, you're using as your basis for your suggestions for the changes. I think that's, again, really cool as far as the different tools that we have available, so that it's not all automated, so that you guys still have a say in what's going on, but we're giving you the information that you can base decisions on, or we can help you hook up with somebody that does it more as an automated situation. So I just VRM has so many different avenues to take you down depending upon what you all want to focus on and how you want to do that. And with that, the online travel agencies is another one of those hot topics that people have been talking about and are probably going to continue to talk about. I found it very interesting this year at VRMA that we had some seminars on, let's reduce our dependency on the online travel agencies. Let's find ways to up your SEO or bring companies or clients or potential guests to your website so that they're booking directly through you. And then at the same time, we also had sessions on OTAs are the way to go. Let's go. Woohoo. Verbo. Woo. Airbnb. So it was really cool for me again to see the two different extremes in the spectrum and where people are going and what they want to do with their rentals. And again, knowing that VRM can help you with whichever way you want to go based on what your trends are with where you're seeing your guests come from and what guests you want to rent with. With the bridge that we have in place and the ways that we can connect to third-party online travel agencies, we can help get that information into the system. And then also we have a crackerjack marketing team that'll help you with SEO and your website and different other marketing techniques to help bring people directly to your site if that's what you want to focus on. So again, I just think that's cool that both different ends of the spectrum were presented this year at VRMA.
You definitely have the two different camps, you know, those that are highly dependent on the OTAs, and we have lots of clients in VRM that don't use them at all. And so, you know, I think the ones that are the most successful are the ones that are taking a balanced approach to it. You know, they're deciding what and when to put their properties on. Lots of different strategies that you can use to utilize the OTAs, including, you know, using them to fill up your shoulder seasons and your off seasons while, you know, not listing them during your prime season, and, you know, various strategies that you can do. But there is no arguing that people that are using the online travel agencies are getting bookings from them, you know, and the clients not the clients, the guests are paying those additional fees. And of course, in VRM, in the Vacation Bridge, you do have a way to do a portal specific markup, depending on, you know, what the OTA is charging you for that reservation, so that you can recoup that. So lots of options with the bridge, and we just recommend doing all you can to book direct on your site, while at the same time doing some strategic listing on the different OTAs. And not every online travel agent is going to be a good fit for every property manager. You know, there's some that's going to work better for you than others based upon where you're at and the kind of properties that you have and those kinds of things. So yeah, anyway, it's definitely still a hot topic, and like Tracy says, I think it will continue to be one for a while to come.
And I think one of the things that I took away from the conversations that I heard or was part of is really, really know your OTA. So, you know, do your homework, do your due diligence, you know, follow them, you know, stay up to date on their trends and, you know, their new functionality, the changes in their pricing structures. You know, all of that is really important so that you can make the best decision for your company for this season, because next season it might change and you need to constantly be reevaluating it based on your needs and what they have to offer.
Can I just reinforce that, Tracy? It is so important to know the OTA that you're working with, because they are not the same. They don't do things the same way. Rates don't calculate the same way. You know, if you're listing on Airbnb versus HomeAway, for instance, from the VRM platform, you know, one of them is coming to us for a quote, the other one is doing the quote on their side. And so it's really important to understand how they work, what options you have with the different ones, and what changes are coming up, because that was several of the meetings that we had were with our distribution partners, and there are some changes coming down the pike, and we'll probably be doing some blogs about them. There's too much to talk about in this 1 hour that we have, but there are changes coming from all of the major OTAs. So you're 100% right, in this season versus next season could look totally different.
One of the other things that I think that was talked about during all of them that fit that is nobody knows your business better than you. And you knowing and understanding your business in every area and how it is projected out to all of the different partners that you work with, including your owners, to your guests and your staff. Nobody knows that but you, and you have to make those best decisions and constantly be reevaluating that. And every different class that all of us went to, that at some point or another was brought up, and that you are your best company's advocate.
You know, that's true. Even for the one session I went to on strategic planning. You know your company, you need to set out the objectives that you have, a 36-month business plan, and, your quarterly objectives you lay out, and you meet monthly, and you revamp if you need to, you measure, you have measurable milestones there, and that was reiterated as well. Know your company and know what your goal is, what you're trying to achieve with each one of your individual smaller objectives.
Absolutely. And that all leads perfectly into our next topic of discussion, which I get to take a turn, is I'm actually going to squish two sessions that I attended into one, because at the end of the day, they were both about marketing, two different focuses, but I think it's something we forget about, or we see our clients sometimes forget about. You obviously have the obligation of selling the vacation rental. But the question was, are you selling the vacation rental as in renting units, or are you selling a vacation experience? And those are two very different things. And that was a session I attended by Doug Kennedy, excellent speaker, has just incredible experience and knowledge and training in the vacation industry. I highly recommend, read up on him, watch some of his YouTube stuff. He's excellent. I got to attend another session that was titled Accelerating Revenue with Effective Storytelling and Content Marketing. So when I put those two sessions together, what I took away with it is you as vacation rental managers have two pieces of content to sell. You have the vacation experience / the unit to rent, but you also have to sell yourself, because at some point in the day, you have to balance your inventory and increase your inventory, which means you have to be the best at renting said units so that you can acquire those units and the owners. So you have to balance getting yourself and your brand out there. You have to tell your story as a company. What sets you apart from everybody else? And tell that story effectively, and how powerful storytelling is to content marketing, and how you use your website and social media and email marketing to do so. And that can look like having a really great About Us page. Don't overlook that section of your website. Make sure that it's user friendly, but it's SEO friendly as well, and that you've told your story. Tell the story of that back in 1945, grandma bought a beach cottage, and that spiraled into the idea of managing other people's, and how it became a full-fledged business, or how your great granddad developed part of the community where you're now renting vacation. Connect your story as an owner, as a manager of the company, with the renter and potential owners. We talked about, getting that, using that content and making sure it's dripped out throughout the traveler's journey. You want to use that to get inbound traffic, to get people to find you. How are they going to find you and get hooked? oh, wait, I made a connection with that brand or that company. You want to build your brand. You want to nurture that relationship. At some point, you want to convert, right? You don't just want them to always be lookers. You want them to be bookers. And what do you do to do that? And then lastly, which ties nicely back into the OTA conversation, is retargeting, is getting those first-time guests to become repeat guests. And that's another very powerful strategy, especially for those who are using OTAs, is the next time they book, you want to make sure that you're doing what you can with follow-up communication to say, hey, don't forget, next time you want to come directly to www.blank to book your vacation. And if you do that, we're going to give you a nice 10% discount or 5% discount or a goodie bag of some kind. You're going to offer them some kind of incentive. And what does that look like? What is your communication? You know, here at VRM, we have Welcome Home, where we can use, you can use that functionality to set up emails that go out automatically to help with some of that retargeting, or you can build it into other parts of your marketing plan. You know, automation is where it's at. If you can automate part of that storytelling, that's the way to go. And another, I want to make sure I'm respectful of everybody else's time, because I could talk about this all day long, is when you're telling that story, how important it is to get outside of your own four walls. You know, we all work from home for the most part. And so, you know, sometimes we forget to look outside our own doors and the beauty that is our home. And for some of us, we live in areas that many people vacation, as you do, obviously. And we understand what it's like to be in an office and get trapped behind a desk, or busy managing, that you forget the wonder of that's outside your door that people are so excited to experience. I mean, they save all year to come where you live all the time. And you need to motivate yourself and motivate your staff to recapture that wonder and incorporate it into your marketing strategy. And whether that means take part of your staff on a field trip and go to all the tourist places and remember how beautiful it is. Go stay overnight in a vacation rental, and the excitement of seeing that, you know, the crisp linens, and oh my gosh, they left us complimentary coffee, and how special that is. You know, to actually get involved in that and what sets you apart. They used an example of a vacation rental management company in Italy, that the woman, how she just, I mean, her stuff is viral because she does such a good job with her marketing, and she does it herself as the owner. And she essentially carries a GoPro everywhere she goes. She doesn't go anywhere without her GoPro. And so she just makes a point, whether she's eating dinner or taking her dog for a walk, you know, she lives and works and plays in the place that she sells. And that was the point, was photographic. Get a video, get a photograph, use your social media marketing, use your email marketing, put those pictures on your website and share that experience with the potential guest, the potential owner, by telling your unique story. If you guys want a whole entire blog or webinar, I'm pretty sure I could do that on just that topic. But we won't do it here. Instead, we're going to move right along, and we are going to listen to what we learn as VRM, of what we learned from listening to the vacation rental managers themselves. Whether it was our face-to-face time with those managers, or whether it was in roundtable discussion groups. So Lauren, we're going to ask her to kind of facilitate that, but it's something we can all jump in on. Lauren, will you just walk us through of what we learned from the vacation rental managers in our industry?
Sure, I'll be glad to, Tracy. it was cool for us, I think, to be involved as part of a listener in some of these sessions that were roundtables that were made up of vacation rental managers, because they were obviously geared toward other rental companies and not to the software companies. So it's kind of like we got to be a fly on the wall to hear your inner thoughts as far as things that you all liked and things you didn't like about the industry. And sometimes that was about your software systems. So it was kind of cool to hear what people had to say about the different software systems without giving names, so that there are things that we could see that we do well based on what people are looking for and things that we can improve on, which again, I took a lot of benefit from as I'm working with new clients coming on and training them on our software. I just got the reminder to be sure that I'm listening to what clients need now and what they're looking for in the future, so that as we're getting them set up in the system and showing them how to use the system, we not only show them functionality that we currently have that they currently want to use, but things that our system has that they may want to use in the future. So for me, for training sessions, it's helpful to know that taking the time to go over what each field and each box does is helpful, because then people know what's there for future use. It's also helpful for me to know to ask about what reporting functionality someone may have had in a previous system, so that I can help them find the reports that they need in our system, or help them find something that would work for what they want to do. So for me personally, I took away from those sessions as far as listening to what you all need and want and how you all want to use the system, so that I could find the ways that answers the questions that you have, and not just go through my training. This is what this does. This is what this does. This is what this does. But it's how can you all use this? What do you do now? Let me show you what we've got in our system that'll help you meet the needs that you've got now, and maybe something that you want to use in the future. So that's something that personally I took away from those training sessions.
And I think that one of the things that went along with that was understanding your, not just understanding how they all worked and what they did, but understanding the why behind it, because everybody's looking to be more efficient, and understanding not just how you do it, but why you do it helps us figure out ways to help you become more efficient and develop things within our system that will lead to that efficiency for you. Because just because that's the way we've always done it shouldn't be the reason that we continue to do it that way. And passing that along to our clients as well.
And then some of the other things that we heard property managers mention that they've learned, either lessons they've learned the hard way or things that they've learned transitioning from one software program to the other or looking around, is how important the accounting functionality is. And I know that that's something we have taken a lot of time and energy into developing here at VRM, because we see how important it is. And it was very reassuring to me to hear how you all as a property management group used that and utilized it and relied on it. And one of the property managers who was as part of the roundtable, who was actually one of our property managers, was pointing that out, and how his suggestion was to be sure that you're reconciling and you're keeping up with your accounting, even if you may be in a state that doesn't have strict rules as far as accounting practices go, that it is important to keep up with it. And I thought that was really cool to hear somebody say that outside of the developers for VRM, that our accounting functionality really was top-notch and helped tremendously with the day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month business. So wanted to share that because that came again from one of you all, and we appreciated that being mentioned, and wanted to pass that on. One of the other things that we heard mentioned for the property managers was that it was important to appreciate your employees, the people that work for you and go out to the housekeeping, the reservations, the maintenance, and that's something that they touched on in the housekeeping meeting as well. And a couple of the other actual sessions I attended, they pointed that out. Find ways to keep your employees, to reward them for what they do, help them develop new skills. When you're looking for new employees, it's not necessarily about looking for the person who has the 100% skill set that you need, but finding somebody who's willing to learn, that you invest in. And when you do that, again, the employee feels appreciated. They learn new skills. They feel more valuable to the company. They are more valuable to the company. So I thought that was something very interesting that a couple of the property managers mentioned, as far as, again, rewarding the employees that were valuable to your company, and letting them know that.
And if any of you sent your employees to the VRMA conference and they attended that and they came back and asked for a car, it was real. We do have a property manager there who gives employees to his cars after 10 years. So they weren't lying, but that was the extreme.
Earlier when we had an internal conversation, I personally didn't attend this session that they are talking about, but some of the conversation was how important it is to make sure that you are weeding out employees that are not being effective to your business. If you have employees that are not matching your company's value system and your mission, and is not giving the very best that they can, that it's okay to weed out, and that and how that actually applies to owners as well. Tammy, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we had several people on the different panels in the meetings that said, don't be afraid to fire those owners that are bringing your business down and taking 80% of your energy to handle 20% of your business. And just by eliminating that energy will in itself trickle down to your guests, your employees, the housekeeping staff, maintenance staff, because it just takes a small amount of that to bring an entire room down or entire company. And so they encouraged everybody to look at where that negativity was coming from, and if it was worth figuring out ways to accommodate it, or if it was better to let it go to allow your company to grow and allow your staff and your guests to feel like they were number one.
So in a lot of ways, it's almost like a risk analysis, whether it's
Correct.
an employee or an owner. Like, is it worth it? And that there was, and correct me if I'm wrong, Timmy, that there's a right way to go about it. So offering the training, offering that to your employees to get them where they need to be. But at the end of the day, if they can't do it, they can't do it. And with the owners, you mentioned, maybe you help them find the right vacation company that is the right fit for them, because you want the right fit for people.
Yes, they didn't say, you come out and flat out fire them. You just encourage them. And the president of VRMA, she was one of the ones that she gave this situation. She's like, it just doesn't sound like I can meet your expectations. Here's a couple of rental management companies that might better fit and be able to meet your expectations. And so it was removing yourself and making it look like you were and are concerned about what's best for them. So it doesn't have to be a negative experience for you, your employee, or your owners. It can be what's best for everybody, and getting them on board to see how that is best.
I love it. And I think that this segues very nicely into one of our last topics is with the idea and the concept behind focusing on the positive and reducing the negativity. I wish we had hands where I could see all of your hands go up, but has anybody ever experienced any negativity in the office, or maybe personally contribute to some of that negativity? Or in our case, we can be the first ones raising our hands over here. Just the nature of how we work, we all have many tasks on our plate, and so it's very easy to get distracted. We have start the day off with a to-do list, and this is what I'm gonna do today, but by noon you've already been pulled in a couple of different directions and things have diverted your attentions. And how do we, and this is a question for VRM too that we took home with us, how do we present our best self? How do we as individuals and then corporately as a company give you all the very best of us? And then the same goes for you and your employees. So Tammy, tell them a little bit about the session with Mr. Rob Z that we sat in on.
He was a motivational speaker that was brought in by VRMA to help everybody look at things a little differently and get everybody kind of pumped up and ready. He's with Freedom Personal Development, and his topic was how to train our brains for success. And the focus of his session was on how to increase our energy and our focus on what we want. Obviously, how to make some more money, and also reduce our stress, and to prioritize each one of those. For some of you, it's going to be reduce stress, then make more money, and then increase your energy, because you may already be very high energy and focused. So everybody's priorities are going to be a little different, but those are the three major priorities everybody looks at. And he talked about how we can, our minds go the way that we have trained it to go. So depending on what our focus is on is whether it's a positive or a negative. And so your focus determines your reality. And so whatever we're putting out there is what we're going to be living. And I thought it was perfect timing for us, because, you know, we're coming into spring. We're cleaning out everything. We're cleaning out our garages. We're getting our homes all spruced up, changing our air filters. And it's a great time for us to kind of get with our staff and our clients and determine, you know, where our energy is and what we can do to kind of clean that up and start fresh and retrain our brains. I know Lauren and I have had some great conversations about this and some of the takeaways that she had from there and how it's impacting what she's doing. Do you want to share a little bit of that with us, Lauren?
Sure. So with this, one of the things that Rob was talking about was to visualize the positive and not so much focus on the negative. And with working any job, you've got a number of different tasks on your plate, as Tracy and Tammy both mentioned. So it's good to focus on the positive things, the things we enjoy about our job, the things that give us energy, and to think about those things and not so much think about like writing the reports or analyzing the data. For me, that's not the stuff that energizes me. I like talking to the people and working with the people. So if I think about my day as in, yay, I get to spend 75% of my day working with you all, that makes me happy. And then the other 25%, oh, I'll get those tasks done. It's not so bad because I get to do those so I can work with you all. So it's more of the just focusing on that way instead of, oh man, I got to go in and look at spreadsheets today and I got to enter data. And then after that, I get to do some training. And by then I'm just tired. So it's just flipping my brain so that I'm thinking about the good things and focusing on them. And then that helps me. And it helps me set positive goals and goals that energize me. And it's not then like a mandate from the company or from other employees here. It's these are my personal goals. This is what I want to accomplish. This is what I'm looking forward to. So just taking that into every day and again, going in there with the attitude of I'm awesome and things are going to be good.
Yeah, he did a comparison. He's like, you know, what you see is what you look for. He used a couple of comparisons. The one I'm going to use is the Tesla. And he said, you know, when you go to buy a new car and you hardly ever see one, so you're going to go buy a new Tesla and it's going to be out there, and then all of a sudden you bring that Tesla home and they're everywhere. Obviously not everywhere because not everybody can afford a Tesla, but you see them more often than you did before. Or, you know, if you're a first-time mom, you get pregnant, and all of a sudden everybody around you is pregnant. Well, it's not like all of those people just all of a sudden got pregnant at the same time. It's what you see is what you look for. So if we're looking for the positive, that's what we're going to find, the positive. And if we're focusing on that with our staff and with our guests and our owners and our clients, then we're going to get more of that back. And it trickles down. Your energy, my energy, trickles down to everywhere we see, and then it just rolls on, and it will bring it back up and bring the energy of our company, your company, and our clients back up to where we all want to be in that positiveness and the focus of what is important to each of us.
One of my favorite things he had focused on was overcoming our default settings. You know, we just as human beings and our nature, we have default settings. But some of that can be trained out of us if we focus on it and we train ourselves and educate ourselves. And one of my favorite things, and I think it ties so nicely into kind of our philosophy at VRM, is, and he said, you need to be or become a solution-based person. And so that is, I feel like we could almost make that part of our motto, because we spend a lot of energy and effort as a company being solution-based. If we can't answer the questions that you have, then we're probably not doing our job right at the end of the day. And we're constantly putting effort and energy into developing and progressing, and redefining ourselves as a company. Maybe not redefining ourselves, but growing, into a growth, and we're experiencing that right now. We're very excited about it. So as a team, we collectively decided this was something we wanted to do. We're actually, as a VRM team, and we're going to spend time working through this particular, tell me the name of their company. I can't remember.
Freedom Personal Development. And you can find them online at that, freedompersonaldevelopment.com.
So we're passing the books around. We've got some video training going around, audio training. We're getting, messages in our inbox. And I actually listened to one the other day that came in our inbox. I actually put a sticky note. You got to, do those sticky notes. And he said, focus on the what versus the why. So instead of saying like, why is this happening to me? Or why does everything get dumped on my plate? Or why didn't I get the raise? It's what, like, well, what's funny about that? Or what can you take away from it? Like, what can you learn? And so that's there. Thank you. Train Your Brain team, because you're already helping us out. So we want to encourage all of you to take that time. We're bringing our notes back to you. One of the things we hear really strong was offer your client, your employees, some kind of personal development, incentive, appreciation. And if you invest in them in this kind of way, that's showing appreciation, that you appreciate them enough to invest in their personal development and their business development. So we just want to leave that there with you all. And we want you all to know that we're working forward as not just development, as in actually developing software and functionality, but we're working on team development, personal development, communication development, like every area that we can actually just continue to grow and excel ourselves individually and corporately. So I'm actually going to turn it back over to Connie. Connie's going to make a couple of announcements, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to close out today's VRM Insider.
Okay, well, we have had lots of our clients inquiring about the VRMU. We had one last year, last spring, I guess, was the last one. We wanted to do one in the fall and got sidetracked by things that were happening, including, hurricanes and whatnot. And so we are going to do one this year. We're very excited about that. We'll have a lot of our employees there. We don't know how many, but at least as many as VRMA and probably more. And we're going to be doing it in November in Orlando. We don't have a definitive date yet, but we are looking at, I think it's the second week in November that we're trying to get one of those dates in, and looking at the various venues that can accommodate us. So hopefully we're going to nail that down. Now that the VRMA is over, because that took a lot of our focus there, we are going to be focusing on the VRM University planning, which is a virtual resort manager, client only user session. We will be inviting some of our vendors like we did last time, in case you weren't there last time. And they'll have some good information, and we'll be doing some hands-on user sessions with small groups where you can ask us questions and really get the inside information about where we're headed. And we're going to get the same from you. Really good ideas. So we're really excited about that. We'll be making the date announcement soon. And then we're also we are also planning on going to the next VRMA, which will be in October in New Orleans. One of the things with VRMA, they did have a change in their in the number of shows that they're doing. So they're only doing one spring show. They're calling it the Spring Forum, where they used to do an Eastern and a Western, and then they did a national. So now they're going to do the Spring Forum, and then the second show within the States. They're calling it the International, but it is in the United States for us. And then they have the European conference, and I don't remember where that is because unfortunately we're not going to be going to that one. Not this year, maybe the next year. But for now, we hope to see you at VRMU in November in Orlando and also in New Orleans in October.
Yes, we're very excited to be there, and just to be have our ears to the ground, learning more, networking more, and you know, just bringing more to the table for our clients. Speaking of bringing some more things to the table, I just want to let you all know that for May, VRM Insider is May the 9th. We are a little delayed this month because of VRMA. But May the 9th is our scheduled date for VRM Insider. And we're actually going to be bringing on Rental Guardian, talking to us, just some of the updates that they have and introducing you to a few things. But most importantly, and the focus of that entire VRM Insider is going to be just the tips and tricks that you can use as a vacation rental manager to pick some low-hanging fruit as far as travel insurance is concerned, how to best market that to your guest, and what you need to know to essentially protect yourselves. You know, there's been lots of chatter with travel insurance after hurricanes this past season, which leads into another question or question that we hope to answer on VRM Insider, which later this summer, we plan a VRM Insider that is focused on emergency management. And what we're looking to do is bring someone from the travel insurance industry on that panel. I'd like an emergency management person on there, so actually from a county or a state emergency management team, and one of you, so then from a vacation rental manager's point of view, and really good, a nice in-depth conversation going about how to navigate before, during, and after emergencies. So stay tuned for those dates. As for now, I just want to thank Connie and Tammy and Lauren. We appreciate you so much. We're so thankful for Michelle and Megan, who aren't here but did offer us their notes. And of course, Michael, who was at the show but is indisposed at the moment, so he's not here either. But we appreciate his notes and comments as well. And I know they all would have loved to have been here to be able to chat with you today also. If you have any questions or comments or something you'd like to bring back to the team here at VRM, as always, you can do that by contacting one of us directly if it applies to our department, or if it has to do with a help issue. You issue that help ticket at help@vrmgr.com, and someone will be able to get back with you right away. Thanks so much for tuning in to VRM Insider. We will see you next time. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.